86, GTR, RX-7, NSX. What do all of these cars have in common, you may ask? These are all Japanese cars, sure. These are all foreign cars, sure. But guess what? They're also all illegal to own in the United States. Why is that? I'm going to tell you why. Hey, my name's Ethan Subnet. Was good, modern globalization class. I'll be answering some questions today. And the main question we're going to be answering is, look at it on my script. How does globalization affect car culture and contribute to the demand for illegal foreign cars in the US? Why is this topic important to me? I just like to answer that question first. First of all, cars, I love them. They're so cool. A lot of my time, if you know me personally, you know that I love cars, right? It's like a big part of me. And more specifically, I like Japanese cars, just like I mentioned. But to answer the main question, we should ask another question. Why are these cars even illegal in the first place? And I'll tell you why. Safety and emission regulations. That's such a big part of why these are so illegal. So many cars are banned in the US because of that reason. And I'll list 3 of them for you. Like this car, the Toyota Sierra. Toyota crash tested these and they were not good. Not good. They failed miserably because they weren't thinking about US at all while designing this car. So when the US came around to crash test these cars, they failed miserably. So the US just like, no, we don't want that. We don't want to sell that. It's gonna kill our people. Next car, the Land Rover Defender. This car is so cool. It can climb mountains, but it has no airbags. So if you get into a nasty crash, there's no airbags, you're gonna split your head open. It's illegal. We can't have it. Last car I'm gonna be talking about is the TVR Sagiris. This car is really cool. It goes really fast, 2,000 pounds, 300 horsepower, which is just way too unsafe to drive, especially without the airbags, anti-lock brakes, and catalytic converters. So they're banned in the US because of how unsafe they are. Anyways, last reason I'm covering today is the company just doesn't see a market here, which is really sad. For example, the Porsche 959. This car is a legendary car. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I mean, look at it. It's gorgeous, dude. But Porsche, when they were making this car, wasn't thinking of the US market. Because of that, it wasn't sold here. I don't know why I said that. But in order to make a car or sell a car here, you actually need to crash test it 120 times. This car costs $500,000 to make. So do the math on that. That's just a lot of money, and Porsche doesn't want to spend that much money on the US. Another car on the beat. This is tiny and it's cute. It's not technically illegal. It's just not sold here, which means you have to obtain it with illegal importing, which makes it illegal-ish. So I lied to y'all a little bit. This car's not really illegal, but you can't have it. It's actually a Japanese exclusive, so it counts in my book. All right. Anyways, now that we know why these cars are illegal, let's talk about solutions. You want these cars? I want these cars. Everyone else wants these cars. Let me tell you how you get them. All right. There's a loophole that the company's made for us. It's American and foreign version cars. All right. So a lot of foreign cars are actually twin cars. For example, the Lexus IS300 and the Toyota Altezza. These cars, I mean, look at them. This is the Altezza, right? This is the Altezza. This right down here, this is the IS300. They look the same. Yeah, basically what happened here was the US didn't want to take the Altezza. Why? Nobody knows. But Toyota was like, I want to sell this car there though. So you know what they did? They took the 4-cylinder engine out, replaced it with an inline 6, removed the Altezza badge, and put a Lexus IS300 badge on there. And guess what? The US was like, oh, this is a totally different car. Let's sell it. Another car. It's actually Nissan. This is back in the 80s. The 180SX, 200SX, and the 240SX. So when Nissan was making the 180SX, they were like, this is not gonna pass. So they didn't even try. So they changed up and they created the 1.0 1.8-liter engine 180SX, the 2.0-liter engine 200SX, and then the 2.4-liter 240SX. And the 240SX went to the US, the 180SX stayed in Japan, and 200 went to Europe and the US. There's many more versions of this. For example, Acura NSX and the Honda NSX, Nissan Skyline and Infiniti, and a lot more. I don't want to cover that. It's a lot. Okay, let's talk about importing now. Okay, so basically what you do, right, is you find an exporter and you verify the car's eligibility. Then you need to get the necessary documents, then arrange the shipping with the shipping company, then customs clearance, and then finally you need to register the car under your name to enjoy it on this US soil. Another thing to know about importing is the 25-year import rule. This is really important to know. I don't understand it fully, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'll tell you why it's important and what it does, all right? Okay, here we go. Script. The rule is that cars that are built under 25 years old cannot legally be brought into the US. The reason why for this rule is because that they want to ensure that cars that are being imported have historical significance and are distinct from newer models in the market. There's a lot of loopholes in that rule. I mean, so many people have done it. It's crazy. Like, so many people have bypassed this. I don't know how they do it, but they do. Now that we know why these cars are actually illegal, we can actually connect that to the car community. So why do people like me want these cars? Well, I'll tell you why. Racing. A lot of these cars actually have a strong racing past. For example, the GTRs, more specifically the R32, 33, and 34 GTRs. These cars have a strong racing past. These cars dominated GT3, GT2, and GT1 in the 80s and 90s. And therefore, everyone around the world are like, oh my gosh, I want that car. It goes fast. It beats everyone. I want that. So people want it, obviously. I mean, it's a winner. Who doesn't want a winner? You know what I mean? You stand out. I mean, there's so many ways to make these cars look cool. For example, look at this one. This one's crazy. Look at this one. This one's crazier. And this one, you can't even drive it properly. People make art out of cars, and illegal cars are just a special little touch to the crazy look. For example, most of them are actually right-hand drive, which is kind of wonky to look at. I mean, that might look. And finally, they just look and feel really nice. For example, the Audi RS4 Advent Wagon. This car is super comfortable. It's a dream family car, you know, like you just want it. So I'm gonna stop you right there. Hey, it's editing me. I actually didn't like how I presented that last part, so I'm gonna represent it right now. Now that we know why these cars are illegal and why the car community wants them, we can finally connect all of that to globalization and finally answer the main question that we have. So, how does it connect to globalization? Well, globalization has had a huge impact on the car community and car culture because it has increased the demand for illegal cars in the US. The reason why, like I said, was because of the media, racing backgrounds, comfortability, and a lot of other stuff that I didn't even say. Through strict safety and emission laws, along with the 25-year import rule, but mainly the emissions and safety stuff, it has made the foreign cars extremely hard to get here in the US legally. And that has created a huge black market for these cars. And economic factors like exchange rates and lower costs abroad also make these illegal imports way more tempting than they usually are. Also, don't forget about the subcultures focused on tuning racing that make people want foreign cars even more. So, globalization has played a huge role in spreading different car trends, but it also creates challenges that lead to the demand for illegal cars here in the US. Now that we got all of that out of the way, we can start talking about NGOs. If you didn't know, NGOs are non-governmental organizations, and the one that I picked for this topic was the Drivers Foundation. A little brief summary is that this organization is dedicated to protecting, preserving, and celebrating automotive heritage. They believe that cars are very important in our history and our culture, And enthusiast cars and the lifestyle that revolves around them are very important to their cultural fabric and as a society. They also provide a significant economic impact. Some cool little history about this organization is that they started in 2003 as the Haggerty Fund, and that basically was getting $1 from every annual membership for Haggerty Plus, which is a funded student scholarship for students who want to go into automotive restoration industry. In 2005, they changed their name to the Collectors Foundation, but they had the same goal. At this point, they raised about $3 million for scholarships, and they also supported donating to educational institutions to build like hands-on training for these students, which I think is pretty cool. In 2009, the Haggerty found the Historical Vehicle Association. This made sure that America's automotive heritage would never be gone and never be forgotten. In 2014, with the help of the U.S. Department of Interior and Library of Congress, they launched the National Historical Vehicle Register. This recorded and protected America's automotive past, and they also created the Haggerty Education Program with a partnership now known as the LeMay American Car Museum in Seattle. And they educate people about some very historical cars, which I think is pretty cool. I've been there, and it's really nice. In 2016, they renamed once again to the RPM Foundation. They transitioned to be one of the 4 organizations under the umbrella of America's Automotive Trust. Finally, in 2021, which is their latest update, they are still partnered up with America's Automotive Trust. They have raised about $20 million to support car culture, and yes, they are still supporting and funding scholarships for students who are going to the automotive industry. Finally, the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video is what they do. Like previously mentioned, they preserve historical cars and important cars and keeps the culture alive and loved. Like previously mentioned again, they also support students who are going into the automotive industry by funding their scholarships, and which is great because they're helping people get careers, and that's pretty cool in my opinion. And finally, they're also helping the environment. How, you may ask? They are actually funding research and development on environmental implications and economic impact of enthusiast vehicles. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll put the website right here, but I'll probably show it too. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Yeah, bye.